Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I'm back with another knife video for you today. And today we're going to go over all the customs that I own, um, because I've actually have asked quite a bit since the last time I had a video. Um, I started out really with just two customs, this one here being one of them. And as you know, custom knives are not cheap, and I just wanted to share this part of my knife collecting with you. It has been insane, as it goes to show when you step up in a hobby, um, everything gets jacked up. Your emotions get jacked up. The way you feel about your hobby gets jacked up. You're just riding on cloud 10, if you will. The hobby really is not for everybody. A lot of people don't reach this level because, as you know, with knife collecting, there's always levels of collecting. It may or may not go this way for you, but this is the way that it went with me when I first started collecting. And I've said this before, I started out just collecting cheap spring-assisted pieces. The $30 knives, the $40 knives, and then getting into the 50, 60, and then into the $100 range. All during this entire process, I was learning about knives, learning about the mechanics of knives, learning about the materials that make up a knife, learning about what makes a good knife. And this was all a learning process as I went through the ranks of collecting knives. And as time goes on, the way it goes is you actually sell off your older collection, then you begin to build a new vast collection. And so now, this is where I am for right now. I'm now into customs, primarily South African customs at the moment. And, again, you never really know. The collection may change again, but that's completely up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and start just naming the knives and talking about each one and letting you know who made it and what the materials are. So let's go ahead and get started. This is my this is the first custom piece that I ever had, that I probably considered what's called a full dress piece, even though it's, well, I guess you could say it's a full dress piece. And what a full dress piece is where every part of the knife has some sort of interesting material on it. And in this case, we're looking at a Damascus steel blade on there, right? We've got the blue titanium liners, which are really beautiful. It's got black marble carbon fiber inserts, which is also into, it's inserted right into what's called the G10 material. One of the most interesting things about this piece is that the backspacer glows in the dark. So, and the backspacer glows in the dark so that you can find your knife. It's also a front flipper piece, which I love. Front flippers are actually my weakness in knife collecting, especially if the knife is, don't know what's the matter with me all of a sudden. I can't do that. My hands are kind of very dry. But yeah, front flippers are my weakness. I love the clean look of a front flipper. I love that, when you put this in your pocket, there's nothing pecking at your pocket because the flipper is actually either up at the top, or as it is on my other John Arnold knife, it's kind of, really low so you don't even really see it. It does take some getting used to learn how to open a knife like that. But once you get it, you get it. The knife runs on IKBS ball bearing system, okay, as opposed to KVT, where in KVT the ball bearings are encased in a circular disc inserted inside the pivot, whereas with IKBS, a trench is actually dug out and they put as many steel ball bearings in the pivot as they possibly can. Which the reason it makes it a smoother action is because the ball bearings are rubbing up against each other, so you have two spherical balls rolling, well, you've got a series of spherical balls rolling inside the knife to give it that quick action release and also that smooth drop down action that everybody loves to have. And IKBS, of course, stands for Ikoma Korth Ball Bearing System. So this knife is made by John Arnold. Another South African knife maker is a gentleman named Keith Kruger. He's fairly new in the knife making world, but he's also on the rise. So this guy is one of those knife makers whose knives are going up in price. His knives, they range anywhere between, I'm going to say, $450 to as high as, say, even $780 or even $800, depending on the custom piece that you are looking to get. This piece here was, I believe it was $545 is what I paid for this piece. Okay, by Keith Kruger. The knife has black marble carbon fiber. Okay, and red micarta. It's also got a titanium pocket clip. Actually, all of the custom knives that I own have titanium pocket clips, and also has a ceramic ball to attach to your pants for the pocket clip. Really beautiful piece. Everything on a custom knife, as you can see, is very smooth all the way across, all the way around the knife. There are no sharp edges on it. Everything is hand filed down. In many cases, when you buy a custom piece, a lot of them are actually one-of-a-kind, handmade. In other words, you will never see another one like it ever again, in some cases, for the most part, which is really something that attracts me to custom knives because of the attention to detail. Basically, when you buy a custom knife, you're getting the knife maker's personality frozen in that moment in time when he's making this knife. So every bit of his personality is actually on this knife. You know, as far as the materials that he used, what he was thinking when he made the knife. Again, this knife is a flipper piece. It runs on IKBS, ball bearing system. Really very, very beautiful. That black marble carbon fiber really sort of sticks out on the knife. Really great piece. I forgot to mention that the steel on this knife is N690 Bowler, which I believe is comparable to 154 CM, I believe. I'm going to have to check in on that, but yeah. It is a good, hard-use steel to use on a piece, unlike M390. M390 is a great super steel, a great slicing super steel, but I don't believe that it is actually great for hard use. So there you go. This next knife is not a one-of-a-kind handmade. He does make these every so often. You might want to say that this is probably considered a custom knife maker's version of a production knife. Okay. However, that does not detract from the attention to detail on the piece. This knife has white micarta bolster with what's called Thunderstorm Kevlar material, which is there are like these little gold specks in there. I believe those are like sort of gold copper wire, I believe, inside there on the knife. It has, what makes this knife so interesting is most of the knives have purple and blue anodized liners. This one has sort of a gold color on it, and it matches really well with the Thunderstorm Kevlar. And it's got a titanium gold pocket clip to go with it. Just really a beautiful design. Once again, runs on IKBS ball bearing system. The knife is made by Kosi Steenkamp. If you've ever heard of him, he's actually the brother of another knife maker. His name is Willem Steenkamp, who also makes knives. So, and the thing with knife makers is that it runs in the family. Keith Kruger is actually the son-in-law of another knife maker. I actually own one of his knives. I'm actually gonna own two of that guy's knives on Saturday. I really can't wait to get that piece. It's gonna be fantastic. But Keith Kruger is the son-in-law of a gentleman named Andre Thorburn. I'm gonna bring out his knives in the second video. So that's that. So yeah, definitely this piece is really unique, even though it is not one of a kind. Like I said, you would probably consider this to be a custom knife maker's version of a production knife. However, do keep in mind that only one guy made this knife from start to finish. The materials that he uses, the machines that he uses to make the knife, every bit of attention to detail went into this knife. There's no blade play on any of these custom knives. Everything, once again, is nice and smooth all the way around the knife. It also has a white micarta back spacer, which is really nice. Love this piece. It's really got really nice smooth action as well. I mean, it practically falls shut and I barely have to close it like that. So, I mean, I just can't get enough of it. Cosi Steenkamp, Thunderstorm Kevlar piece. This one is another front flipper by John Arnold. A little bit more difficult to open, but there you go. This is also made by John Arnold. It's got a blue titanium pocket clip. Actually, it might be a little bit purple in this light, but it's really blue. It also has, I guess, purplish or purplish blue liners with G10 and Ambonia wood burl inserted into the G10. Really very pretty. I love that combination, that color. It's really, really nice. The steel on it is M390. Once again, it runs on IKBS ball bearing system. Really pretty. And again, we have the famous glow-in-the-dark backspacer. So, John Arnold is another one of those knife makers. He's not really on the rise anymore. He's actually becoming quite popular. His knives are also going up in price, and that's basically what happens with a lot of these knife makers, whether you're a South African knife maker, whether you're an American knife maker, like say like Jason Clark, or you know, it makes no difference. The prices for their knives, as they get promoted more and more, they're well known for a certain look. They're known for a certain design. They become a little bit more popular in you know, in the knife world, and all of a sudden their knives become sought after, and then the prices for their knives jump all the way up there. So this one, at the time that I bought it, was, I believe it was I'm trying to think, $575 I bought. No, $525 I bought this piece at the time. I saw a similar one on his website going for about $685. So it's already beginning to happen for John Arnold. His the prices for his knives are going up and up and up. So it's really quite something. A lot of these knives, and another thing also I wanted to mention is that a lot of the custom knives that you get, they should come with a certificate of authenticity, which I've mentioned before. Basically what you're looking for is something like this. Not necessarily this. This came from the actual store I bought the piece from, but for the most part, most of the, I'll take this out so you guys can see that. Most of the custom knives that you get, it's actually there's actually a certificate of authenticity on there. It tells you the name of the knife, what the model number is. Many times it's actually signed by the knife maker. In this case, it's not, but it's okay. It's okay as long as you have one, and it's got Andre Thorburns' name on it, Andre Van Heerden's name on it. So It's just a little something that you're going to want to watch out for. If you're thinking about buying custom knives on eBay, I definitely would recommend that you only seriously look at the knives unless you are an advanced knife collector and you know what the knife is and you're familiar with the piece and you're familiar with the knife maker's work. You're perfectly fine to buy one without a certificate of authenticity. If you're beginning to be a custom knife collector, I recommend not doing that. I recommend actually looking to make sure, asking that they've got one of these on the, when you get the piece. So these are the first 4 that I own. I'm going to bring out the next 4. So let me go ahead and put these away. Bring out the other 4 that I've got. And I'm going to finish off, let's see here, with the best piece I own. So let's go ahead and get into it. Bring these guys out here. And again, I just wanted to go over the custom pieces that I have and that I own, so that you guys can get an idea. Maybe you guys are at the point in your knife collecting where you're getting a little bit bored of maybe purchasing production knives and you're looking to get into something new, and maybe you're ready for something like this because, my opinion is that when the time comes, the time comes. I'm not saying that price is never going to be an issue. It's always going to be an issue with knife collecting, no matter what you do. When you get into this hobby, you're just going to have to get into the concept that knives cost a lot of money, particularly custom knives where they're made from start to finish by one guy and one guy only. And keep in mind what it is that you're buying is not simply just a folding knife, okay? What you're buying, basically, what you're buying basically is not just a folding knife. You are buying a work of art. Basically, imagine a knife or a plain, boring knife with nothing on it, and a knife maker comes along and decides to remake the knife over again using different materials, maybe different materials you've never seen before. And the whole concept is to see if we can get these materials to work in a way that will create artistic endeavors when you, as far as it being a cutting tool. So it walks the line between it being a tool and a work of art. I like to call it works of engineering artistry. So let's go ahead and begin with the next set of 4. This is, once again, my 3rd John Arnold knife. As you can tell, he's probably my favorite knife maker. This one, once again, this is a small front flipper piece. This one has a really small, really soft detent on it, so it opens up real easy. To show you how easy it opens up, all I got to do is just do that, and the knife will practically fling open. See if I can do it again. Oh, try it one more time. So I don't want my hand hit the camera. There you go. I mean, it almost comes out like a switchblade with just a fling of your wrist. It's got really soft detent. This one has a ceramic detent ball in it. It's got the front flipper up at the top. The knife is, on the front of the knife, we have G10 and black marble carbon fiber all the way around, and a different marble carbon fiber insert inside the other marble carbon fiber. So we have 2 different textures on the piece, which make it really interesting. Just love that combination of that gray and that black and the blue. The blue liners on it are really spectacular to look at. I think it's fantastic. So there you have it. So this one is by Andre Thorburn. He is definitely a popular knife maker now. He's no longer on the rise. He's just already there. This is a piece Yeah, by Andre Thorburn. It's got blue marble carbon fiber twill, the entire knife. One of the most interesting things about the knife is that it's completely blue. I mean, I love that. Every piece on the knife, except for the titanium pocket clip, is blue. We got blue bolster, we got blue pivot, we've got blue liners. The file work on Andre Thorburn's knives really stand out. This was done by hand, guys. Completely by hand. This is a one-of-a-kind handmade piece. This blue marble carbon fiber twill piece. One-of-a-kind handmade knife. It runs on ceramic bearings as opposed to steel ball bearings. You can see how smooth it is. I mean, it practically don't have to do anything. And ceramic ball bearings don't even have to be oiled. They can run dry, and they'll always shut close like that. It's just really fantastic action all the way through. It's sort of a complicated piece to look at, and yet simple, because it just has two materials on it, basically. It's just got the titanium liners and the blue marble carbon fiber twill. And that's basically it. There's no third material on there. Which brings me to my third knife. Now, this one is really spectacular. I love this piece. This is by Andre Van Heerden. Of all the customs that I own, this one resembles more of a tool than the other, well, basically the other six that you've seen up until this knife. The other knives in my collection all have some sort of bling to them. As you can see, this knife doesn't have much bling on it, does it? It's just got two slabs of G10 and then blue titanium liners, and that's it. That's it. There's nothing else special about the knife, but actually there is something super special about this knife. One of the main reasons why I love it is the action. This is probably the smoothest knife I have ever owned, period. Production, custom, whatever. I mean, I have never seen a knife fall shut like that. I have never, ever seen it in any piece. I don't have to do anything. There's no stopping. There's nothing. It's just a continuous motion up at the top, and then it drops. I mean, it is just spectacular. And what's great about it is that it's a custom, but it's also a knife that's made for hard use. I wouldn't have a problem using this piece all day long to cut boxes with in a hard way. The steel is M390. I forgot to mention on this piece here, the steel is CTS XHP. So, I want to make sure I got that out there. Knife makers will use a variety of steels on a piece. I don't know what decision they use. Maybe it's a random choice. Maybe it's whatever mood that they're in that they want to use the knife. But I have a funny feeling that the knife maker that made this knife, his name is Andre Van Heerden, I think he was just looking to make a really great custom tool. And that's basically what he's built here. The only downside about this knife is that it is freaking huge. The blade is 4.2 inches. I mean, this is a big freaking knife. It took me a while to get used to carrying it in my pocket. I work in an office environment, and on the day that I carry this piece is almost always a Friday, where it's like the weekend, you know what I mean? It just seems like the right time to be carrying such a piece. I don't know why, but it just seems like it's a knife that I carry in my pocket because it's fun. And of course, if somebody needs a knife in the office, I'll pull this thing out, and they can use it to cut open a box or whatever. But yeah, runs on IKBS. The G10 is just perfect for texture. One of the fantastic things you notice about knife makers is that they use these incredibly tiny screws on the piece. Because they're trying to make it so that you don't see those little screws in there, that you're just focusing on the materials that made the knife. But again, similarity, look at that. Again, smooth all the way around. No sharp edges anywhere. The entire knife made by hand from start to finish. which brings me to my final piece. This knife here is the most expensive knife I have ever owned. So expensive that I really do not want to tell you how much this knife cost. This knife is made by Erucus Blumurus. It's what we call a full dress piece. And I want to thank my good friend Jeff over at the Epicurean Edge for educating me on that. I never heard the term full dress piece. I actually called it flow dress piece. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. But it's basically what's called a full dress piece. In other words, every part of the knife has some kind of bling on it. And it's not just bling, there's actually reason why the material is on there. Knife makers don't just put these materials together and make something fancy for the sake of making something fancy. A lot of thought process went into the knife to make it. So there's a lot of materials, a lot of details on this knife. So let's go ahead and start on that. So the steel itself is called Damasteel, right? The knife runs on ceramic IKBS. It runs on ceramic bearings and it's IKBS as well. The knife has blue Timascus bolsters on it. One of the things about this knife that makes it so great is that for the most part the knife is actually blue, but when it hits the light it becomes purple. So I kind of like that temporary color change there. Really fantastic. Really great. It's got black marble carbon fiber on the knife. Again, you can see the blue titanium liners in there like you've seen on all the other knives. We're not done yet, folks. Let's take a look at the back. The back has a Damascus backspacer. Look at that. All the way around to the top of the knife. And to top it all off, he does the file work on the liner on the back to give it another special effect. So as you can see, this knife is one of those what's called full dress pieces, where every piece of the knife has got something on it to talk about, something on it that your eyes draw the attention. I also don't know if you can see it in the light, but the pocket clip is also blue. So even the pocket clip has got some kind of bling on it. Again, the blue ceramic ball for the tension on the pocket clip right there. Really beautiful piece by Erucus Blumurus from South Africa. So this is my knife collection in hindsight. Like I said, I love this collection. More than likely, it's going to be a collection that's going to stay. I'm never going to get rid of any of the knives in this collection. They're going to stay. As time goes by, you begin to realize that, you're in a point in your knife collecting where you're always looking for something better. And you don't, when you go into customs, I always want to make sure I tell people this. When you go into customs, it's not that you're like a knife snob necessarily. You're just getting used to better knives. That's all it is. It's not like you don't appreciate Benchmade or Kershaw or Spyderco, but you're in a different place now. And as a knife collector, one of the things I have a theory about knife collecting is once you reach a level, you make videos on your knives, you talk about your knives consistently because you're trying to moon people to come join you. Come join me in my insanity in spending hundreds of dollars and thousands of dollars on custom knives. Come on, man. Let's do the insane thing together. Get out of those Benchmades and move up, But, it's whatever. But, begin to realize that that's not going to probably happen with you. Who knows? But it's always nice to have that information out there. And, of course, the more we talk about these knife makers, the more we promote the knife makers. It just makes it a lot better for the industry. It makes it a lot better for knife collecting in general because everybody's learning from each other. as a knife collector, I'm still at the very beginning stages. I have yet to go to a blade show, guys. So I guess in that sense, I'm still a virgin when it comes to knife collecting because I've never gone to a blade show. I hope to go one day. I would love to go with the people at the Epicurean Edge, but I just don't have the balls to ask them if I could tag along with them. Obviously I'll pay my own way, but I don't want to get in the way because they're there for business and I'm there for pleasure. So this is it. This is my custom knife collection. I know this video is really long, but I'm kind of hoping you guys enjoyed this. My collection is going to grow and grow and grow. And actually, this Saturday, I'll be getting another Andre Thorburn custom piece. Really can't wait to get that one because that one's a front flipper, and front flippers are like my weakness. So there you have it. This is Omar, the Knife Sharp Guy, signing off, hoping that you will find a custom knife in your collection, because these are real sharp art right here. Thanks again. This is Omar, the Knife Sharp Guy, once again signing off, and happy knife hunting to you.